1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone. I'm Nina Perlmutter, the Vice Chair of the Kennebunkport Planning Board. This is a virtual planning board meeting. We are using Zoom conferencing format. The agenda on the town's website has the information needed for the public to participate by Zoom conferencing format or telephone. If you wish to participate through Zoom, you can join this webinar ID 835-4650-2081. You can also dial in by phone on or at 929-205-6099. Just follow the directions. If you are conferencing in by phone or through Zoom and watching this on cable or YouTube, you must turn down your volume or we'll have feedback. As always, you can watch us on the television on channel 1301 or stream us on YouTube at Kennebunkport Television. During the meeting, only the planning board and the current participants, as selected by the board, will be on screen with audio connected. All other participants will be blacked out and audio muted, except when the board solicits public input. If a public hearing is on the agenda for a particular topic, as the first item is tonight, the applicant and board members will have discussions, after which I will open the public hearing. At that time, anyone who wishes to be heard should raise your hand in Zoom or on the phone, and we will recognize those people in turn. If you happen to be using your telephone to connect, raise your hand is *6 and toggle mute is *9. We have an agenda tonight that includes one public hearing. I want to inform the public that Ocean Woods, the application that we have been working on that you have participated in, has been formally withdrawn and will not be part of tonight's agenda. On November 17th, a new application will be on the agenda. It has been submitted, and we will start an initial review. Also, the Longview Partners, Vincent and Nathan Phelan application has been postponed at the request of the applicant. So that will not be on tonight's agenda. And finally, what will be on the agenda is a site plan review for the Schmallow Family LLC Trade Center, Inc. Okay. And with that, I'd like to take attendance and start, see who is here. Ed, you here?
Here.
Okay. Larry?
Here.
I know you're here.
Yeah.
Okay. Scott, are you on? Scott?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay. George?
Here.
Okay. John? Is John on tonight?
Don't see him.
Okay. All right. And I know that Tom is absent since I'm chairing the meeting, obviously. And so we have a quorum and we can go forward. I think first thing on the agenda are the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to view the revised minutes that were sent around?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Any changes?
No.
No.
Okay. Then I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay. And I'll take a vote. Ed, I'm in favor. Ed, are you in favor?
Yes, in favor.
Okay. Larry?
Yes, in favor.
Scott?
In favor.
Okay. George?
Yes, in favor.
Okay. With that, the minutes are approved. And I'll go to the first item, which is the 5 Dyke Street, Kennebunkport, Maine, prepared for $10 condominiums. And can you bring up, I believe it's Steve Doe? To cover any questions. Is Steve out there?
Good evening, all. Hello.
Hi, Steve.
Hi.
So I know we were waiting on some things for you to provide, and I know that you came forward with signed power of attorney. So that's in the file. That was one of the questions. Can you cover anything else that's been forwarded?
Yeah, Larry had asked for several items. One is for us to verify the depth of the depth of the riprap that we have there. And I talked with our engineer, and he agrees. He says the plan's correct. And then there was a question about the lot size, and I did reach out to the client, and they actually had a boundary survey which I provided to give you an accurate size of the parcel.
Yeah, thank you. And then you provided the update on the application showing us in the shoreline. Yeah.
Yes, there was a couple items I added on that. So yeah.
Yep. So it looked great. Thank you for your speedy response. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Okay. Any of the board members have questions? I know that I don't at this point.
No, I'm good.
I do not.
Okay. Okay.
Do not.
All right. Well, then, since this is a continued public hearing, I'm going to open the public hearing for any of members of the public who want to speak. Are there any hands up? Okay. If there are no members of the public who have any questions or want to make any comments, I'll then close the public hearing. And I think at this point we make a vote to approve the application.
Oh, well, I think, could I just jump in there? I think last time we
Sure.
voted to approve the application subject to receiving information. So this would be just confirmation of closing or approving the application. Is that what we're doing?
Okay.
Confirming
All right,
that approval of the application is complete, is totally complete? Well, approving the application. Yeah, that's what we're doing.
Confirming approval of the application.
Yeah, I guess that'd be it.
Okay, and since Warner isn't here, I don't know whether we vote on that. So to be safe, why don't we?
Let's go ahead and vote, yeah.
First, okay, well, I think we can go ahead without a motion. I'm in favor of this, of approval. Larry?
I'm in favor.
Okay, Ed?
Yes, in favor.
Okay, Scott?
In favor.
Okay, George?
In favor.
All right then. Well, with the confirmation of the approval of the application, I think Larry has findings of fact to read.
I do. Yep. Should I do that right now?
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead and read that.
Okie doke. So this is Kennebunkport Planning Board finding of fact and decision. It's the application of Sand Dollar Condominiums, 5 Dyke Road by Sebago Techniques, authorized agent for the channel bank stabilization for the property located at 5 Dyke Road, Kennebunkport. Following a site plan review pursuant to the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance on September 15th, 2021, and a public hearing held on October 6th, 2021, continued on October 20th, 2021, and concluded on November 3rd, 2021, the Kennebunkport Planning Board makes the following findings of fact and conclusions and renders the following decision. Finding of facts are as follows. The applicant is Sand Dollar Condominiums with a mailing address of P.O. Box 87, 5 Dyke Road, Kennebunkport, Maine, 04046, in a form of authorization dated July 22nd, 2021. Applicant has authorized Sebago Techniques, Inc. to act as the agent for this matter. 3, the main property has a street address of 5 Dyke Road, Suite 9, that's in parentheses, number Maine. It's MAIN, close parentheses, Kennebunkport, Maine, 04046, and is identified as map 34, block 3, lot 111H on the municipal tax assessor's maps. 4, all properties also with street address of 5 Dyke Road, Kennebunkport, Maine, 04046 include the following. 4A, Unit number 1, map 34, block 3, lot 11A, B. Unit 2, map 34, block 3, lot 11B. C. Unit 3, map 34, block 3, lot 11C. D. Unit 4, map 34, block 3, lot 11D. E. Unit numbers 5 and 6, map 34, block 3, lot 11E. F. Units 7 and 8, map 34, block 3, lot 11G, and G, unit number 9, map 34, block 3, lot 11H. 5, in a form of authorization dated October 26, 2021, owners of units 1 through 9 of Sand Dollar Condominiums authorized applicant to represent all owners in this matter. The properties are located in the 6. The properties are located in the Goose Rocks Resource Protection and Shoreland zones. The owners have demonstrated a legal interest in the property by providing a set of deeds recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds as follows. A, warranty deed for Unit 1 in Building 1, Book 18504, page 264, dated December 23, 2020. B, warranty deed for Unit Number 2 in Building 2, Book 17797, page 125, dated August 28, 2018. C, warranty deed for Unit 3 in Building 3, Book 17331, page 792, dated September 29th, 2016. D, warranty deed for Unit 4 in Building 4, Book 16614, page 803, dated May 29th, 2013. E, unit deed for Units 5 and 6 in Building 5, Book 15103, page 633, dated February 28th, 2007. F, warranty deed for Units 7 and 8 in Building 5, Book 18730, page 584, dated July 6, 2021. And warranty deed for Unit 9 in Building 5, Book 14091, page 413, dated May 18th, 2004. 8, the property consists of 22,510 square feet, which is approximately half an acre for the group of 9 properties listed above. Since the lot area is less than 40,000 square feet specified in the land use ordinance, it is legally nonconforming. However, the project is limited to work only on shoreline stabilization of an existing channel bank, which will not affect existing nonconformance. 9, in an application dated August 9, 2021, and supplemented with additional information on October 14, 2021, and on October 27, 2021, applicant proposes to reduce the likelihood of future erosion of an existing channel bank by placing new riprap and marsh grass plantings on the existing channel bank. The impact area of the channel bank stabilization will be approximately 420 square feet. The new proposed shoreline stabilization will consist of a combination of geotextile fabric, a base layer of 6 inch to 12 inch, a base layer 6 inches to 12 inches thick of 3/4 inch crushed stone, and a top layer 24 inches to 28 inches thick of angular riprap rock with a size of D50 is 15 inches. The new riprap installation will tie into existing riprap located adjacent to the applicant's properties. Existing marsh grasses will be supplemented with grass plugs in backfilled areas as well as in soil-filled riprap voids. Slope of the finished installation shall be no steeper than 2:1. 10, a flood hazard development application dated August 5th, 2021 has been submitted to the town of Kennebunkport. 11, the proposed stabilization plan has been discussed with the Corps of Engineers and the Maine Department of Environmental Protection. Permits will be submitted to the planning board in due course. 12, the applicant has requested no submission or performance waivers from the requirements of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance. 13, pursuant to the requirements of Article 10.10.A of the Land Use Ordinance Guidelines for Decisions, the planning board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes a negative ruling on one or more of the following identified findings which would otherwise compel denial. A, the proposed use meets the definition or specific requirements set forth in the Land Use Ordinance and will be in compliance with applicable state or federal laws, finding yes. B, the proposed use will not create fire safety hazards and will provide adequate access to the site or to the buildings on the site for emergency vehicles, finding not applicable. C, the proposed exterior lighting will not create hazards or to motorists traveling on adjacent public streets and is adequate for the safety of occupants or users of the site and will not damage the value and diminish the usability of adjacent properties, finding not applicable. D, the provisions for buffers and on-site landscaping provide for adequate protection to neighboring properties from detrimental features of the development, finding not applicable. E, the proposed use will not have a significant detrimental effect on the use and peaceful enjoyment of abutting property as a result of noise, vibration, fumes, odor, dust, glare, or other causes, finding yes. F, the provisions for vehicular loading and unloading and parking and for vehicular and pedestrian circulation on the site and onto adjacent public streets will not create hazards to safety, finding yes. Comment, vehicle access and vehicle parking for execution of the project mostly will be on the owner's property. G, the proposed use will not have a significant detrimental effect on the value of adjacent properties, nor has a significant detrimental effect, which could be avoided by reasonable modification of the plan, finding yes. H, the design of the site will not result in significant flood hazards or flood damage and is in conformance with applicable flood hazard protection requirements, finding yes. Comment, the proposed new stabilization will reduce erosion from flood hazard. I, adequate provision has been made for disposal of wastewater or solid waste and for the prevention of ground or surface water contamination, finding not applicable. J, adequate provision has been made to control erosion or sedimentation, finding yes. Comment, erosion and sedimentation control plan is included on drawings included with the application. K, adequate provision has been made to handle stormwater runoff or other drainage problems on the site, finding yes. L, the proposed water supply will meet the demands of the proposed use or for fire protection purposes, finding not applicable. M, adequate provision has been made for the transportation, storage, and disposal of hazardous substance and materials as defined by state law, finding not applicable. N, the proposed use will not have an adverse effect or an impact on significant scenic vistas or on significant wildlife habitat, nor will have such an impact that could be avoided by reasonable modification of the plan, finding yes. O, the proposed use will not cause unreasonable highway or public road congestion, finding yes. Comment, vehicle access and vehicle parking for execution of the project mostly will be on the owner's property. P, existing off-site waterways and traffic facilities can safely and conveniently accommodate the increased traffic generated by the development as far away from the development as the effects of the development can be traced with reasonable accuracy, finding not applicable. 14, when a proposed development will be located within the shoreland or resource protection zones, in addition to the requirements of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance, Article 10, the townwide regulations in Article 6, the performance standards for specific activities, and land uses in Article 7, approval of the development will also require the board makes positive findings based on the information presented that are proposed, that the proposed use, A, will maintain safe and healthful conditions, finding yes. B, will not result in water pollution, erosion, or sedimentation to surface waters, finding yes. C, will adequately provide for the disposal of all wastewater, finding not applicable. D, will not have an adverse impact on spawning grounds, fish, aquatic life, bird, or other wildlife habitat, finding yes. E, will conserve shore cover and visual as well as actual points of access to inland and coastal waters, finding yes. Comment, stabilization will minimize disturbance to the shoreline during and after completion of construction. No visual or actual impediments of access will increase as a consequence of project execution. F, will protect archaeological and historical resources as designated in the comprehensive plan, finding not applicable. G, will avoid problems associated with floodplain development and use, finding yes. H, is in conformance with the performance standards set forth in Section 5.6, erosion and sedimentation control of the Kennebunkport Land Use Ordinance, finding yes. Any negative finding by the board means the application has been denied. 15, the application is otherwise complete. Conclusions, Article 10.10.a of the Land Use Ordinance mandates that the planning board shall approve a site plan application unless it makes one or more identified findings that would otherwise compel denial, and as noted above, the board makes no such findings. Decision, the site plan application identified above is approved. Conditions of approval pursuant to Article 10.11 and 10.12.e. The applicant pursuant to 10.12.e shall notify the planning board prior to the transfer of rights to construct an approved project. 2, final approval from the Corps of Engineers and the DEP, main DEP, must be provided before a building permit can be issued for the project. 3, final approval from the town of Kennebunkport for flood hazard development must be provided before a building permit can be issued for the project. 4, applicant must record a copy of this decision and provide proof of such recordation in the form of a copy thereof attested by the Registrar of Deeds before any permits may issue or before any construction activity may commence. 5, applicants shall comply with all terms and conditions of the town of Kennebunkport ordinances as well as the Maine DEP and U.S. Army Corps of Engineers approvals, dated the November 3rd, 2021.
Very good.
Stirring.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the findings of fact?
So
I move
moved.
to approve the findings of fact.
Okay, I second it then. If George is going to move to approve, I second it.
Okay, all right. Well, I approve. Ed, how about you?
Yes, approve.
Okay, Scott?
Approved.
Okay, and Larry, of course,
Approve, yeah.
and George.
I approve.
Okay, well, then findings of fact will be available in the office, and we should all come in and sign them at the earliest convenience. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Steve.
All right, until
Thanks,
next time.
Steve.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. The next item I need to pick up is 210405, which was the Ocean Woods. And because it has been formally withdrawn by a written withdrawal, the application is no longer going forward, although we have an open public hearing. And so I'm going to formally close the public hearing as we indicated last meeting. And that will be the end of that application. We will take no more public comment on that particular application. I want the public to be aware that there'll be a new application with a revised site plan on Ocean Woods that will have an initial review on November 17th. And if people have comments on that, then they can send in via email or write in their comments, and the board will take a look at them. The earlier you get them in, the more time the board has to study them. So with that, I think I have accomplished what we decided to do last week. And with the next item it being postponed at the request of the applicant, we come to the last item on the agenda, which is item number 211002, the Schmalo Family Trade Center site plan review. And I forget who's in charge of that, but can you bring him forward? Let's see, I think it's David Wade. Good.
Success.
Okay. Well, David, welcome. We've seen you before.
Yes, back in February. Yep.
Right. And we've seen this application before. And before I ask you if there are any changes or anything that you want to bring out that's new and describe the application and the site plan, I want to mention that the voters approved this as approved a conditional use for this particular type of application, not this application, but the type of application that you're raising, having residences in Dock Square zone. So this is a conditional use for the board to review. And with that, I'll put it into your hands and let you describe it.
Thank you very much. Dave Wade with the Trade Center. Ray Schmalo is on the road. If I need to get a hold of him, I can give him a call. We're pretty much the same thing back in February. We're looking at the 24 Ocean Avenue property called Union Square. Currently is two buildings that are 2 stories, and both the floors are retail. Over the years have been a combination of retail, professional office, restaurants. And what Schmalo LLC is looking at doing is converting the second floor of both buildings to apartments. These apartments are going to be for primary residence. It's not looking at being Airbnb or short-term rentals. Ray is looking to put some nice apartments in town for people who work in the Kennebunkport area. What got this going was early in 2020, they had some pipes break upstairs at one of the restaurants, and Ray basically, it was the second time we've repaired down below, said, I want to look at something else. So after some review, he wants to put apartments up there. Each apartment will be around 750, 800 square feet, depending on how we set up some closets and stuff like that. They're intended to be 1-bedroom apartments, although you could do 2 with the square footage. The work is going to be done inside of the existing building shell. We're not impacting the site, the landscaping, or anything like that. We will be changing out some of the display windows, which are fixed windows, for double hung for ventilation and that stuff. The bedrooms will end up having egress windows, and each of these apartments will have 2 entrances. But the egress is going to be the major thing that codes will want to see, and that's something we're going to do. The back side of the building does not have windows. In what would be the living room areas, we're going to add a couple of windows there. But the actual shape and change, the shape of the building is not being impacted. We're not adding cubic footage, square footage, or anything like that. Ray has out back area enough to be able to create parking space for each of the units. Doing these apartments will give us an opportunity to upgrade these buildings. They were done back in 1985. We will be able to increase the insulation, upgrade electrical. The apartments are going to end up having split unit systems, so they'll be air conditioned and heated. We will be doing a fire separation between the first and second floor. We've already done that to building A in hopes of getting this passed. That will end up being our fire separation between the 2 areas. That's a 2-hour rated separation. And, it's going to be some nice large bedrooms, nice place in the middle of town to hopefully have an apartment and go from there. Back in February, there were a couple of questions about letter of intent, and for the deed work, for the reference deed, I have included an updated letter of intent from Ray and also a copy of the reference deed. Other than that, I'm here to answer your questions.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of questions. These are 4 1-bedroom apartments. Are you planning to have a custodian on site at all? Or have someone to call?
Yeah, Ray has property management people. He has different people that oversee that. They also watch over the retail areas and stuff like that. Ray also owns other properties in the Dock Square area, and he has a couple of people that look in on them and stuff like that.
Okay. You say there's adequate parking for the residents who will be in this residential mixed unit, but there'll be stores downstairs. So is there also adequate parking for the retail units?
There is 7 spaces out behind there. We can shoehorn in 7 if real tight. He would be setting 4 of them up for the parking upstairs. I think past that, I'm not sure if we're required to have it for retail, but I know he feels it's important to, specify specific spaces for the apartments.
Okay. So there may not be any retail parking for the people who have the retail businesses.
There will be 3 spaces left over.
Okay. Will there still be restrooms downstairs for the retail people?
Yes, that has not changed. The restrooms that he added in a few years back is this work will do nothing to impact that. They will still be there.
Okay. And you have 2 possible exits for fire for each of the apartments?
Yeah, currently the way that they're set up, there are two doors that originally went in. There were 4 units up there. We're splitting them in half, so we'll have 2 doors. They're 3'6" wide doors going out onto the decking, and then we will have egress window out of the bedroom areas, and that's all set by fire, code standard, their size, and we'll meet all of those.
So if it's a window, that will have a ladder type exit. Ray may put the drop ladders that go in, but I know tends to, when you get into rented spaces and stuff like that, they are not always used. But we are low enough to the ground that we're within the code to have the windows and for them to drop. Okay. All right. Well, those are my initial questions. I'm going to, anybody else on the board that wants to ask questions of this? Ed?
I have about two things. One, my home's in an 8-family subdivision, and I'm deed restricted that I can't do short-term rentals. I think I could rent it out, but like once a year or some such thing. What do you plan for the restriction in this case? How are you going to prevent this from becoming a short-term rental?
Oh, at this point, Ray is not looking for these to short-term. He's looking to have somebody rent these. Dave,
I take your point. I understood. I listened. I heard you. Mm-hmm. I'm saying, are you going to add that to the deed?
I can check with Ray to see if that's what he would do.
Yeah. Okay.
I know that the town's in the process of creating or working on a Airbnb ordinance. Is that something that would cover this kind of issue?
You're saying if he does change his mind and he wants to become a short-term rental, yes, he would be subject to the town's short-term rental ordinance, and he'd have to apply for a permit and all of that.
No,
you're saying he does want to retain that capability.
Well, I'm as his representative. I don't want to speak, and say he does or doesn't. I can check with him and obviously let the board know. I know in conversations he has no desire to have these short-term rentals. He wants to go into a contract with one person. Hopefully, they live there for 20 years. He never has to worry about it.
No, and I think that goes. That's a nice concept. I think I personally support it. I love the idea of there being some people who live in Dock Square. It doesn't appeal to me.
There are a few, but there's not many.
Well, there aren't many opportunities, and you're talking about 4, which is a substantial increase.
Correct.
Given the current situation. So I applaud that. I was just looking for a way of capturing that intent legally.
I can ask him if that's something he would do.
And then the second thing is, would you ask him, I'd like to see a letter from the fire chief agreeing that he's happy with the measures that have been taken and, wouldn't require a fire suppression system, for example. Given the nature of what the businesses down below could be, you could envision a grill being in there at some point. And
at this point,
that's not his intent. I'm just saying I'd like the fire chief to weigh in on this with a letter.
Well, I've done work and everything in there. If they were to turn around and say, take one of the front units and turn it into a restaurant, we have to come back before this board.
Yeah.
So that there is that time. The reason we're doing the 2-hour separation between the two has to do with the cost to put a sprinkler, and it'd basically be a double sprinkler system into those structures.
I'm happy. No, I'm happy with that solution as long as the fire chief is happy with it.
Yeah. Well, when we do go before building permit, we will have to meet all ordinances and fire, ordinances and everything else. So we'll be dealing with not only the local chief, but we'll have to make the state fire marshal happy also.
Well, this will be a chance.
Go ahead.
This will be a chance for him to weigh in, earlier rather than later, and not come back to us and say, you could have just asked.
I know that in talking with code enforcement on this earlier, prior to going to this, that's why we went ahead and did the 2-hour separation in building A. We kind of did our homework and said, what do we need to do to make everybody happy?
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So as long as the fire chief is good with it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not going to give me a permit unless I make him happy and the state happy.
So you're saying you won't get a letter from the fire chief for this board? He does this routinely for us, for applicants that have a new and unusual situation. I'm just looking for you to ring them up and ask.
I can
for
give
his
him a
review.
call and ask. I know that once I do building permit wise, I'm going to have to meet the state fire marshal,
and then you'll have our fire chief on your side at that point.
I can do that. I can give him a call and meet with him and have them review this and give us
in
input.
parallel with us moving forward here.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to cost you time.
Well, be glad to.
Thank you very much. That's all I had.
Okay. Scott?
Well, my question was on parking, and you asked that. Thank you. I'm set.
Okay. All right. Larry?
I just wanted to make sure I understand the situation with regard to the fire protection. So as I understand it, you're proposing a 2-hour fire-rated barrier between, on the floor of these apartments, which would allow you to eliminate a sprinkler system. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And that fire, and then you've also got a barrier between apartments. Is that correct?
We're required to have the barrier between uses. So we will, in construction between the apartments, we've got a 2x6 wall. I could put 5/8 on each side, but it's really the fire separation is supposed to be between the retail area versus the apartment area.
Okay. I see. Okay. So, all right. Okay. Well, I think it'd be really great if you maybe describe that to the fire chief and make sure he's okay with it. My frame of reference on this, as you may guess, I have one, is that this is kind of like a condo situation. Every condo I lived in had both fire sprinkler systems as well as fire separation between units. And that was on, laterally and on the floors. And so, I don't know what the cost would be to add, fire barriers between apartments, but, if it wasn't too much, you may want to think about that. And just as a suggestion, anyway, so I'm glad to know you're looking at the fire control seriously. I think that's a serious issue.
Yeah.
So thank you.
To upgrade from 1/2-inch sheetrock to 5/8 between the apartments is peanuts. Easy to do.
If it's cheap, I think it'd be great to do that personally.
Okay. I see no problem with that.
Thank you. That's all I got.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. All right. George?
No further questions.
Okay. Then let me go back to it a little bit. I'm also a little concerned about sound barriers. Will the separation between floors be enough for sound barriers if you get a lot of retail activity, or you get somebody who wants to play a lot of loud music upstairs?
Between the first floor and second floor, the construction is 2 layers of 5/8 with hat channel. Above that is 10 inches of fiberglass insulation. Then there's 5/8 plywood, another 5/8 underlayment, and whatever flooring. And between that fire rating and the space below, there's a drop ceiling that adds to that sound deadening.
Okay.
Upstairs versus downstairs should not be a problem unless somebody's really jumping up and down. And between units, that wall that's going between the units will be insulated and have soundboard on both sides.
Okay, all right. Unless they open a window while they're playing, recording.
Yes,
Okay.
and that's when somebody complains and Kennebunkport PD make a visit.
Okay, so basically, we're going to learn more from you and the owner about subletting and short-term rentals and how you're going to control that. We're going to get a letter from the fire chief, and you've agreed that you'll probably upgrade to 5/8 inch sheetrock as part of the fire barrier.
Yep. Oh, it'll also help the sound barrier too.
Yes, it will. Okay. All right. Do any of the other board members have any further questions?
No.
If not, then I'll ask for a motion that the application is complete so we can go forward to a public hearing.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Well, I can find the application complete. Larry?
Complete.
Okay. Ed?
Yes, I agree. Complete.
George?
Yes.
Scott?
Complete.
Okay. Then there's just one more item. We need a case manager for this. Is anybody willing to take it on? Or has the time to take it on? I should ask.
Oh, okay, I'll do that. That'd be good.
Okay. Well, thank you, Larry.
Okay.
Okay. And then basically with the application complete, we'll go forward to the next meeting on November 17th, in which we'll have first public hearing on this particular application. And thank you for your participation, David. I think we're done now.
And I will get a letter together and also something from Ray Schmallow and send that to who? Drop it off to town hall?
Yes, you can address it to Warner or to the planning board, whichever. So,
I'll make the calls in the morning.
okay.
Great.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, with that, this completes our agenda. And I'll take another motion unless somebody has something else.
Nope. Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay.
All right.
Then
Thank you.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.